All praise, glory, and honor is most certainly due to the Most High, the God of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Peace to you in the name of Jesus. This is your brother, Elisha Israel, and I count it truly a blessing each and every single time that I come for you to preach the word of God. And never do I count it as a light thing to do so. Just a little bit about the household of faith. We meet every Sabbath at 5925 West 25th Avenue in Gary, Indiana, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. And let's see here. Give me a moment. Okay. Okay. All right. So this lesson today, the lesson is going to be about Book of Enoch, because two brothers actually made mention of it, and shout out to both of them. And I'm gonna read their comments in a moment when I get to the lesson portion. But before I do that, I wanted to show you this video that I saw on the news today, and it was really sickening, and it was really sickening. And first of all, I encourage people to get this book. It's called Killing Black Innocents. It's a book I wrote. It's called Killing Black Innocents, the program to control African American reproduction from slavery's end to the present day self-inflicted genocide. And the genocide today, brothers and sisters, it is abortion. And people say, well, how is it a genocide? Because when you wipe out 25% of your current, what would equate to 25% of your current population since Roe v. Wade through abortion, that's genocide. That's more deaths, black deaths than violent crime, heart disease, HIV, AIDS, all that combined. So, and I just want to show you this because it just shows you the sheer savagery and just godlessness that is permeating throughout the world, particularly the United States. And I just wanted to show you this. So give me a moment while I pull up the video. And this is in Virginia. Okay. 1 second. Give me a moment. Here we go. All right. So here it is. So it should be playing in a second. Hopefully.
Track or targeted regulations. This bill would remove the following statutes: track or targeted regulations.
This is in Virginia.
Removing language classifying facilities that perform 5 or more first trimester abortions per month as hospitals. Would repeal Virginia's informed consent mandatory ultrasound and 24-hour delay. Repeal the requirement that second trimester abortions be performed in a hospital licensed by the State Department of Health. It would repeal the requirement for 2 additional physicians in cases of third trimester abortions.
Delegate Tran.
Yes, sir.
How late in a...
Sorry, I was trying to change the quality of it. It just went down for some reason.
Pregnancy, would your bill apply if a physician
Listen to this.
willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the way the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician.
So how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, talking about your bill.
Yeah, but I mean-
How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, I mean, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep, I don't think we have the limit in the bill.
So, where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs that she is about to give a birth, would that still be in which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilated.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman
I
would make
understand
at
that.
that
I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
I certainly could have said a week from her due date, and that would have been the same answer, correct?
That it's allowed in the bill. Yes.
And in addition to what you just represented, you do acknowledge that you substantially changed the standard by removing a couple of words here. Correct. Substantially, you're sorry, line 80. Line 80.
I'm sorry, can you just tell me, I think I'm in the right part that you're looking at
Line,
as well.
line 80.
Line 80, you are changing this standard under which the call is made
Where?
for a portion at any point in the third trimester. You're changing the standard.
I'm changing the standard, yes.
Okay, all right. What type of mental health conditions would you anticipate would be utilized by physicians under these circumstances to determine that a child that is otherwise is worthy of an abortion?
You know, I mean, again, I'm not a physician, so I can't make those calls as to when a physician would determine that a woman's mental health where they would be able to certify an abortion at that point.
But the physician wouldn't have to have any specialized training in mental health to make that determination under your bill, right?
Under the
All right, thank you. Delegate Tran, what are some of the conditions that a woman can be experiencing in a third trimester, late term pregnancy, for which abortion and not delivery would be the optimal result to protect either her life or health or that of the child, if that's even an interest? But what would be is there any commonly accepted medical decision to terminate the pregnancy in the late term rather than deliver the child if the mother's health or life is actually in danger?
Mr. Chairman, I am aware that there are certain medical conditions where that might be an option for the mother. And I would actually turn over to Galena from Merrillville to see if she has those specific medical examples.
Okay.
Thank you. really short.
That's okay. I don't have a lot of specific examples because I'm not a physician. I'm an attorney. So, and we unfortunately do not have the physicians could not be here today because they are seeing patients at the moment. I know that there are certain central nervous system anomalies that cannot be determined until later stages in the pregnancy. I also know that certain anomalies like the absence of certain organs.
Okay, so you're talking about the child. Now, let me just leave that out of the equation then.
Sure.
In terms of the health or life of the mother, what conditions are there that can't be resolved by delivering the child rather than undergoing an abortion?
Again, I am not a physician. What I can point to a case that happened in Ireland. That's the first one that comes to my mind. That I have the time for you and send you the article about. I can definitely send you that article, and if you'll give me some time, I can ask our physicians to provide you with a list of maladies that can lead to a woman having to have an abortion at the late stage of pregnancy. I do know that those cases exist.
But you don't know what they are.
Like I said, not a physician. I do not have those specifics about the woman. I have some specifics about the fetus. I do not have the specifics.
All right. And again, since you yielded, you don't have any. I'm telling you now. You don't have any specifics on that, obviously.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're talking about a lot of physician stuff here, and nobody appears to know the answer, and the doctors aren't here. So, it would have been helpful maybe to have those questions answered.
Okay, so already in New York, you saw the bill, and Governor Cuomo was at the Empire State Building. The top of it was pink, and he celebrating. And now you have a similar bill in Virginia. If you notice what the woman said, she said that the abortion can be done all the way through 40 months. At 40 weeks, 40 weeks. That baby is fully come to maturation, is ready for as far as being ready to be delivered. And he asked her, he said, the woman's dilating. Can she still have an abortion? And the woman said, yes. How in the world do you justify killing a baby that's literally about to be delivered? You can't justify that. You can't justify that. But I just want to bring that to your attention because it says something about a society that is not caring for its most vulnerable. Okay? It's really sick. You can't justify it. It's wickedness. Next thing I wanted to touch upon, which is the lesson, which is the book of Enoch lesson. And I just want to give me a moment because I did want to read the messages from the brothers that asked the questions. So give me a moment. Okay. Hold on. Just have to go somewhere else to read the messages. Okay. So the one message says, let's see, Tomican, he said, hold on one moment. He said, it would be greatly appreciated if you could do a full video showing the era of the book of Enoch. I know far too many in these days who don't even read the Bible any longer. And all, what do you say? And all on the premise that they have discovered this new level of truth in the false book of Enoch. All right, so And I also wanted to respond to it because another brother, Yaruz, he said, verse Enoch is alluded to by Jude in his letter. Okay, so now I'm gonna deal with the book of Enoch, and I'm gonna deal with that in greater detail. Okay. So the first one is the quote. Okay, what about the quote in the book of Enoch? Okay, give me a moment. I'm trying to do something with, look up something on, as far as it's doing with this live streaming. So give me a moment, please. All right. I want to make sure everybody can see because I cannot see you. Okay, I think I'm cool. All right. So what about the quote in the book of Jude? It is often purported that Jude quotes directly from the book of Enoch. However, this is problematic for several reasons. Okay. Now, reason one, does Jude state that he is quoting from the book of Enoch? He doesn't say he's quoting from the book of Enoch. So although he stated that Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied, saying does not mean that he is quoting from the book of Enoch. Does not mean that he's quoting from him. And these are the translations that you see the book of Enoch, where it says, behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, to destroy the ungodly. And you see it in another translation. It says, behold, he comes with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon them and to destroy the wicked. Again, though, this is something that I touched upon in the last lesson. Enoch did not, the book of Enoch that we have was not written by the Enoch that is talking about in the book of Genesis. Okay? Enoch did not write the book of Enoch that we have, so why should we attribute this as the original source? See, that's problematic. Secondly, did the book of Enoch and Jude draw from the same source? You don't know. Because there are certainly books the Bible speaks of many books that we don't have, right? But, however, the book of Enoch that we have in these various translations is just not one of them. Okay? Again, Enoch did not write the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch was written between, again, 300 BC and 100 AD in 5 parts. Okay? Only full version of the book of Enoch is written in the Ethiopian language, Giz. And is an ancient Semitic language. It could be that the book was written in Aramaic and/or Greek and was later translated after the 3rd century. This is when the books of Enoch were written. Okay? Again, look, and it was written in 5 different parts by different people at different times. So we're talking 300 BC to 100 AD. That's way beyond Enoch and Genesis. Okay? The Enoch and Genesis, that was the 7 from Adam. We're talking about, I'm going to just read what it's talking about here. In Genesis 5:21, and Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. So we know he didn't, this is not, now I'm not saying that he didn't prophesy that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying about what the Lord would do, what I'm saying though is, and that would be the earliest prophecy of that. Well, yeah, that would be the earliest prophecy of his coming in that manner, even though it is talked about alluded to in a different place in Genesis. However, you can't say that the book of Enoch is that, because he didn't write that. Okay, so why are we attributing that to him? Also, the idea that he had many angels to do different things, you can find that throughout the scriptures. But also, second error, the claim of 450-foot men, a man being 450 feet tall. Okay, in so it says in Enoch, the 7th chapter, 2nd verse, and they, human women, became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells. And L is 45 inches, which means that the men were 450 feet tall. To put this in perspective, the ark was 300 cubits long or 450 feet long. 1 cubit is 18 inches. This is a replica of Noah's Ark. You can go to, or you could go to Kentucky and see Noah's Ark. Okay, so you mean it was men walking around this big? I always say, where are the bones? Show me the bones. It's not, you don't see that. You don't see that at all. Again, you had giants. The Bible talks about giants. Just again, like I stated earlier in the lesson yesterday when I was dealing with people talking about they're going to heaven, and I touched upon Enoch, the book of Enoch. Again, the Philistine, Goliath was a giant. The Anakims were giants. Okay? But that's not, you don't, none of those men were 450 foot tall men walking around. That's just not what was happening. Another thing, I talked about this as well, just to point it out. This is Enoch 67:2. And now the angels are making a wooden building, the ark, and when they have completed the task, I will place my hand upon it and preserve it. And there shall come forth from it the seed of life, and a chain shall set a chain. Set it so that the earth will not remain without inhabitant. That's talking about the ark. But the Bible tells you clearly that Noah was the one. I gave you the references there. You can read them on your own. Genesis 6:15. I'll just read them since I always do the reading here. I'll just read it. Genesis, I'll read it again. Genesis, because I read it last night. That's okay. Genesis 6:15. Now in Genesis 6 and verse 13, it says, and God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, and breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof with lower, second, and third story shalt thou make it. Verse 22, thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. The book of Enoch says the angels made the ark. Hebrews, the 11th chapter. Hebrews, the 11th chapter. And that's a shame if people want to deal with something that's not, see, again, people just pick up things and make assumptions and don't research. It's unfortunate. Don't research where they're getting it from. Hebrews, the 11th chapter, verse 7. By faith, Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. That's just like the Apocrypha. When you look at the history of why they put the Apocrypha in the King James Version, when you look at why it's not a part of the canon, when you look at all the errors, and I've touched upon that several times in lessons, I'm talking about did lessons on that, but people still want to ascribe to, but it's not divinely inspired. That doesn't mean it's not something that can be used as a historical reference in some ways, even though it has historical errors. In the Sirens or the Sirens, it says that it says in Enoch 19:2, and the women also, the angels who went astray shall become sirens. Now, sirens come from Greek mythology. These are each of a number of women or winged half-women, half-bird women who lure sailors away with the singing to shipwreck on island coast. That's Greek mythology, but you find that in the book of Enoch. Let's go to now. I want to point out something else that you find in the Bible, because let's say hypothetically that Jude was referring to the book of Enoch that was written. That's problematic, but let's say hypothetically he was. Okay, that doesn't mean that what he referred to is divinely inspired. Why do I say this? Because when you look at certain things and that was said, particularly by Paul the apostle to the Gentiles, you see that in his writings, in his writings, in his words, he referred to pagan writers. Not saying that you should follow them, but he is talking to a people that were only familiar with this. And so in order to make certain points, he used that to convince them. That's what Paul, in his knowledge, his understanding, and his background, he was perfectly suited to convince these people because he was familiar with their culture. He spoke all these languages. Let's go to Acts, the 17th chapter. And it says in verse 28, Acts 17 and verse 28, for in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of our own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. Now this is Paul, right? This is Paul, but where did he get that from? Part of it came from Epimenides, Utica, and the other one, Aratus. Phenomenon 5. I show you here what lines can be attributed to what pagan author. The lines in the whole, in essence, were attributed to Zeus in Greek literature. Paul attributes them to the true creator. Now, some would come and say, oh, I knew Paul was bogus. Stop. Because let's read it in context and see what he's saying. This is Acts 17 chapter and verse 22. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God, whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. So now he's about to tell these people about the true and living God. But see, they worshiping a God they just worshiping falsely. He said, you ignorantly worship. He said, God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, neither is worship with men's hands as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things. He's trying to convince them through logic, and he is informing them of the attributes of God, and hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell in all the face of the earth, and have determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord. So now he's made you, right? So listen, your existence shows you that you should be worshiping God, but you need to seek him. No, you can't just come up with something. And that's what man has done. See, once you see the creation, it proves to you that there is a God. You are a conscious being. That proves to you that there is a God. The next logical step is to seek that God. It is not to just make up your own things and attribute that to the God that you claim to serve, when in actuality, it comes out of the vain imagination of your mind. That's why he said you ignorantly worship. Verse 27, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are his offspring. And that is true. We are his offspring, but not of Zeus. And he wasn't telling them to follow Zeus. He's trying to get them on the path from that foolishness that they're dealing with, and showing them, no, this is not God. Let me show you about God. Let me tell you. First of all, he's not dwelling in this false temple you have. He's not in these statues that you're worshiping. Yeah, it is. Then he said, yeah, it is one that is the cause of our existence. We are his offspring. The Bible tells you we the sons of God. But then he expounds further. You understand? But he got that from that terminology, because again, he's when I say Paul, I've said that many times, Paul is dealing in a very philosophical way. That's why Peter said his writings are hard to be understood, because he is dealing in a way that that takes into consideration the people that he's talking to. See, when you preaching, let me tell you something. When you preaching, brothers and sisters, you have to take into consideration the people who you're talking to. So you're not going to preach the same message. And what I mean the same message, not that you're going to lie, but that certain things, if you're dealing with somebody who's never heard the word of God, you can't come to them talking about initially hit the 70 weeks of Daniel. They'll be like, man, what? You have to get people where they are. Don't mean you lie to them. That's not what I'm saying. But it's like, I'm gonna do exactly what he did. Emily Dickinson has a poem. It's called "Tell All Truth but Tell It Slant." The poem is called "Tell All Truth, Tell It Slant." And the theme of the poem is that the truth, brothers and sisters, should be told. But if it's told too much, or it's too the light is too bright, you can blind a person so they can't get it. You've seen a light, just like if you look at a light, certain light will hurt your eyes and you can't see it. You got to close your eyes, you got to look away. But it's the light though. But you got to turn and close your eyes and get some darkness, right? The truth can be that same way. The Bible talks about milk and meat. You can't give a baby steak. You understand? So the mindset, the culture of the people has to be taken into consideration. Now, when you've been doing it a while, what you do is you know who's in the audience. You might see somebody walk in off the street, right? Now you're dealing with people that have been in here 5, 10, 15 years. They've been in the truth. But at the same time, you might expound on a point further that those old timers, if you will, they know it. But the one that's coming out the street, this might be a revelation to them. So you take the time to expound. Or sometimes you teach in levels. You'll teach to the ones in the congregation that know had the most understanding, all the way down to the child. All the way down to the child, a physical child, or the one that have understanding in the truth as a child. Meaning they're young in the faith. So that's what you do. And that's what Paul is doing. Now, I just referenced Emily Dickinson, brothers and sisters. Does that mean that Emily Dickinson's poetry is divinely inspired? But what am I doing? I'm making a point, which is what Paul was doing. And that's not the only time he does that. 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 33. He says, be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. Where did he get that from? He got that from Menedars Theus. He got that from a pagan writer. A writing. Titus 1 and 12. One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretans are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. Epimenides, they're aruculous. Again, does that mean that those works are divinely inspired? Consider this, because Paul used these pagan writers to make a point does not mean that their works were divinely inspired. The same can be said concerning Jude. Even a Jew quoted the book of Enoch, which is questionable. Does this mean that the book of Enoch, again, is divinely inspired? Does it mean that? That's the question. So just because it's there don't mean it's divinely inspired. Just because it's there does not mean that it is divinely inspired. All right? So with that, brothers and sisters, that's just a little bit on the book of Enoch. And again, just from what I was talking about earlier, Killing Black Innocence, get this book. This is available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Get that book. Get that book. It'll also be available on the website. Get that book. And I just want to remind you, we're at the House of Faith meet every Sabbath at 5925 West 25th Avenue in Gary, Indiana, at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, every Sabbath, which is Saturday, at 5925 West 25th Avenue, at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We live stream right here on the IsraelTeach YouTube channel, as well as at www.IsraelTeach.org. If you'd like to leave a donation, an offering, you can go to our website, and do that. We appreciate all those who have donated. 100% of the proceeds from donations and offerings tithes go to the work of the ministry. We do not get paid. I just want to keep reiterating that. Also, we're having a baptism this Friday coming up at 5 p.m. So Central Time. So we look forward to that. Hope I answered the brother's questions. And also, hold on. If I see this brother here, brother Isaiah, shoot me an email. Go to the website and shoot me an email, and then I'll deal with you that way. Okay? Yeah. He said hit that like button. I appreciate that. I think that's how YouTube operates. As far as what gets dispersed, you know. Had a few people watching today. Yeah, I appreciate that. And peace to everybody that's listening. And I'm thankful for you. And also, if you left a message on here, yeah, brother. Let me know, and just shoot me the email, and then we'll deal with it that way. Okay, we'll do it that way. Or you can even just shoot me an email with your phone number in it, and I'll probably call you. All right? Or you can call me tomorrow. Just hold on. Go to the description has the number in it, brother. If you call tomorrow, I'll shoot you back. Or you can do an email. Either way is fine. Either way it's probably actually you in the Caribbean. It'd be better for you maybe to do the email. We'll figure it out from there. So I don't know if they charge you for that or not. Whatever's easiest. And with that, brothers and sisters, it's always my prayer that you were edified.